All right guys, it is springtime in Idaho and we're getting geared up for our spring bear season. This year we're going to be doing a 7-day backpacking trip into some of the Idaho backcountry in search of bears. And so for this video, I thought I'd just go ahead and take you through everything that I'm going to have on this trip. We're going to go through everything that I've got in my pack and then everything else that I'm going to be carrying with me. So with that, let's just go ahead and jump right on in this thing. So first of all, I want to get out of the way everything that's outside of the pack, and then we'll go ahead and open this thing up and take a look inside. So bow, I'm going to be traditional bow hunting, lightweight setup. I think I've actually got a weight on this bow. I've weighed everything, so I'll tell you what everything weighs when I get done with it. So the bow and the arrows, 2 pounds 7 ounces. Kind of hard to beat that. So this, for those of you who are interested, this is a fire-hardened hickory self bow. You guys have seen this in some other videos. We're going to talk more about that bow later on. The next most important thing outside of the pack is good binoculars for a spring bear hunt. You're going to be sitting on top of ridges, glassing, looking for bears. And so a good quality optic, you know, as good as you can get. Personally, these are the ones I'm going to be carrying right now, or this year, are the Razor UHDs from Vortex. These are 10x42s. Come in a nice case here. I've got a wind indicator right here. And then I've got my elk calls here. And the reason that I'm taking elk calls is sometimes you can get those bears to come into a calf, like a lost calf call. I've got another predator call I'll show you here in a little bit, but taking basically the same setup that I would have for elk. Gonna be taking some gators. We are going to be getting into some fairly high elevation stuff. There's still snow up there, so there's a really good likelihood that we're going to be post-holing through, you know, rotten snowbanks. And so gators are indispensable up in that country for keeping the snow out of your pants. Also, another thing that I really like to carry in steep country is trekking poles. These poles right here weigh maybe like 1 pound 2 ounces or something like that. And where these things really come in handy is when you're packing heavy weight downhill, because that is very, very tough on your knees. A good pair of trekking poles will save your knees. All right, that's everything outside of the pack. I'll go ahead and just talk about the clothing that I'm going to have. So everything that I have on is wool, merino wool. I really like merino wool. You guys have heard me talk about this. I'll actually link to another video where I talk more in depth about some of this other stuff that I have with me. So I'm going to take a mid-weight hoodie. Underneath this, I've got a short sleeve, really lightweight short sleeve. So when we get up there in the sunshine, it's going to be warm. Strip everything down. These are the Obsidian pants. These are the same model pants that I wore on Alone. These are the same boots that I took on Alone. These are the Timberlines from Schnee's. Really good boots. Wool socks, the whole 9 yards, wool base layers. All right, got that out of the way. So let's go ahead and see what's in this pack. The weight that I'm going to give you at the end of this video is minus water. I'm going to take a couple of Nalgene's, or I'm going to have one Nalgene. And then I've got my bot. This is from Vargo Outdoors. It's a titanium bot. I love this thing. It's got an O-ring here around it, so it seals up. You can carry water in this thing. You can use it to cook in. This is what we're going to heat all our water for the meals that I've got in here. All right, so let's go ahead and open this up. So this pack here, this is the Striker XL from Kifaru. I'm not sure what the total weight on just the pack itself is, but it's not bad. I really like, this is one of the big reasons I like this pack, is because you can lay this back, you can put quarters in here, meat quarters, you can throw your, you know, sleeping stuff in here, whatever. You can put stuff in between the actual main pack and the pack frame. All right, so I've got my sleeping bag. I'm not gonna go ahead and pull this out. This is just a 0 Degree Phantom from Mountain Hardware. It's a down bag. Don't know what the weight is. I'm gonna give you a total weight on this here when I get done. So 7 days, all the food that I'm taking is right there. So let's see here. There are 2 essentials on a camping trip: coffee, toilet paper. Everything else is negotiable. Got those 2 taken care of. So I've got 7 dinners, and then I've got some oatmeal, got some dehydrated apples for breakfast, you know, snacking during the day. I really don't eat a lot during the day, but I've got 7 good dinners. Also like to take some tea. This is orange spice tea. So got the standard Mountain House stuff here. And then one thing that I'm really excited about is we just got a home freeze dry unit from this company called Harvest Right. And so what we've been doing, and we're just now experimenting with it, is making our own like home cooked meals, freeze dried, and then sealing them in these Mylar bags. I'm personally super excited about this. I've already tried some of these things and they're fantastic. But I like this because a good backpacking meal, a good freeze-dried backpacking meal is not cheap, but then there's all this other stuff in there, those preservatives, there's a huge amount of sodium in those things. And so with this, you can basically make your own, save the money, and you know exactly what's going into these things. Okay, inside the pack. So everybody knows I film all my hunts. It's how I make a living. Now I normally would have a big camera that's actually, this is being filmed on. It's a Canon with a lav mic and the whole setup, tripod and everything. I'm not gonna take that on this backpacking trip because we're gonna make a 25 mile loop and we're climbing a lot of elevation. This is not gonna be an easy hike or an easy hunt. So I'm trying to keep the weight as low as I can. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm filming everything on GoPros this time. I've got a GoPro 10, which is right over here. I love that camera. It doesn't weigh very much. The audio's not half bad. And the stabilization, everything, I couldn't recommend an action camera higher than I recommend the GoPro 10. I've got a couple of other GoPros in here that I'm just gonna use for setting up for time lapse, a bunch of extra batteries. And so that's my whole filming setup for this, this trip. I've got a puffy layer here, puffy jacket. I've got an extra down vest that I'm gonna take. And like I said, my upper, I've got a mid-weight hoodie here, and I've got a wool t-shirt under that. So for safety and communication, I've got an InReach Mini here, and that is linked to my phone so that I can text, keep in touch with the fam. This thing is, I don't know, there's different plans you can get with this. I think we pay like 20 bucks a month or something like that for, you know, limited texting and things like that. Really good for safety. A little bit of paracord, a Ferro Rod with, if you look at the base of the rod here, this has Leuco tape, which is like a very good quality medical tape wrapped around this. Some sort of medical tape, and I would highly recommend Leuco tape, is indispensable on a backpacking trip, because if you start getting a hot spot or a blister on your foot, you take some of this, throw it over that before it actually turns into a blister, and you can completely avoid a disastrous end to your hunt. A blistered up feet's a great way to end a backpacking hunt. And then I've got just some basic, you know, some bandages and things like that. Some electrolytes in here. So I've got my little MSR pocket rocket stove thing. That's what we're going to be doing all our heating our water for our dehydrated meals or freeze-dried meals. A couple of fuel canisters for that. I've got some rain gear here. This is the Impertech from Helly Hansen. This is like some serious rain gear. You're not going to want to be hiking in this stuff. This is not breathable, but it will absolutely keep you dry as long as you're not producing moisture from the inside through sweating. Our shelter, this is a DST tarp from Seek Outside. Very lightweight setup. You guys have seen this on some of the other videos that I've done. Got a Thermarest Neo Air. I've got an older Thermarest that I've been using forever, and this one's actually a little bit lighter than that one. I'm not sure what the weight is on this, but it's not heavy. Got some game bags from my buddy Brad over at Argali. Very nice game bags. This is the Mob Pack ultralight game bags. Now inside this pack, I've got one of their knives from Argali. I like to carry several different knives. I'll show you some of the other ones in here that I've got. This basically, anytime I'm big game hunting, I'm gonna have this little pack with me, game bags and a knife. Now this year, I occasionally have guys that want to send me knives so that I can test them, give them some feedback. This year I had a guy send me a new knife. This is from North Mountain Knives, and so I told him I'd take it on this hunt, try to get some blood on it. So we've got Headlamp. This is the Petzl Actic Core. I've had this for, I don't know, 8 or 10 years. It's been a great headlamp. It lasts for a pretty good long while. It's got a nice rechargeable battery in there. It takes a mini USB. Got an extra tab, and then another Predator call, if I can get it out of here. So we're gonna take this along. This is from Rocky Mountain Hunting Calls. So there's a couple more things that I want to talk about. One is I've got a lighter in my pocket. I've got my Leatherman. This is the same Leatherman that I took on alone. This is the P4. I love this multi-tool. Very, very nice. I use it every single day. I've just got a regular old Bic lighter, and again, more Leuco tape wrapped around that. A hat, my Three Rivers hat that I wear everywhere. And then for this type of hunting, a pair of glasses is critical. I mean, you get up on some of those snow fields, and in a bright sunny day on a white snow field, that you can get in trouble with snow blindness. So a good pair of glasses is going to come in very, very handy up there. All right, that is it. That is everything. Now the pack, the loaded pack with all of this stuff in there, weighs 26.5 pounds. For a 7-day hunt, that is pretty doggone light. Now everything, we're talking bow and arrows, binoculars, everything that I'm gonna be hauling up the mountains, minus water, is 32 pounds. For a 7-day backpacking trip, that's pretty doggone good. So I'm gonna put a link down in the video description to some of this stuff. So if you wanna go down there, I'll just make it easy for you. Go down there, click that link. Or you might have to cut and paste that, I'm not sure. But anyway, go down there, check that out, and we're gonna be having a video, at least one video coming up from this hunt. So if you're not subscribed to the channel, go ahead and do that. We'll see you next time.